The bus stop felt forgotten by the city, like a place time didn't care to visit anymore. The glass shelter was smudged with fingerprints and half-torn ads, the metal bench cold even through thick clothing. Cars rushed past in long streaks of noise and water, splashing the curb without slowing down. Ethan Cole stood there, hands in the pockets of his expensive charcoal coat, staring at the road as if it had personally betrayed him. He checked his watch again. Then again, the truth was simple and irritating. His driver had called in sick. His phone battery had died after a night of endless meetings. And for the first time in years, his money, his name, his power meant nothing at all. No assistant, no shortcut, just waiting. Ethan was used to control. As a self-made CEO millionaire, rooms went quiet when he entered. People waited for his decisions. His calendar was planned weeks in advance. Even chaos usually obeyed him, but not this morning. He exhaled slowly, jaw tight. Being a single dad only made the weight heavier. His son lived in another state with his ex-wife, and their calls had become polite, careful-like to people afraid of saying the wrong thing. Success had cost him more than he liked to admit. A small sound broke through his thoughts. Oh, a soft hum. Ethan turned slightly. On the metal bench sat a little boy, maybe 7 years old. His feet didn't reach the ground. He rocked gently back and forth, humming the same short melody over and over, as if it were holding him together. His backpack looked old. One strap repaired, with a knot tied by small hands. The boy traced invisible shapes on the foggy glass with his finger. Completely absorbed, Ethan instinctively scanned the area for a parent. No one seemed close. He frowned, concern flickering, till the boy suddenly turned his head and looked straight at him. "Are you lost too?" The boy asked. The question hit Ethan harder than any insult ever had. He blinked. "What?" "You look like you don't know where you're supposed to be," the boy said simply. "That usually means lost." There was no rudeness in his voice, no sarcasm, just honesty. Ethan let out a short, surprised laugh. "I guess. Yeah," he said after a moment. "Maybe I am." The boy nodded slowly, as if that confirmed something important. "Okay," he said. "That's good." Ethan frowned slightly. "Good. It's easier to talk to people who are lost," the boy explained. "They're quieter inside." Something about that made Ethan pause. He hesitated, then sat down on the opposite end of the bench. For a few seconds, neither spoke. The boy kept humming. Ethan found himself breathing in rhythm with it, his shoulders slowly lowering without him realizing. "My name is Noah," the boy said suddenly. "I'm autistic. I say things people don't expect." Ethan turned toward him fully now. "I'm Ethan," he replied. "And that's okay." Noah studied his face carefully, his eyes sharp and focused. "You didn't lie," he said. Ethan smiled faintly. "I try not to." "It's good," Noah replied. "Lying makes my stomach hurt." The bus roared past the stop without slowing. The sudden noise made Noah flinch. His hands flew up toward his ears before he forced them down again. His breathing became faster. Ethan noticed immediately. "Is that your bus?" he asked gently. Noah shook his head, eyes still locked on the road. "Mine is blue. It's late. When things are late, my brain gets loud." Ethan hesitated, then asked carefully, "Do you want me to sit closer or farther?" Noah looked surprised by the question. After a second, he nodded. "Closer is okay." Ethan shifted just a little, careful not to invade his space. "I don't like when adults touch without asking," Noah added. "Thank you for telling me," Ethan said, and he meant it. Minutes passed. Noah rocked slightly. Ethan stayed still. Time, for once, didn't feel like something chasing him. "My mom is inside buying coffee," Noah said. "She told me not to move." "I don't move unless I'm told. Rules make the world make sense." Ethan nodded slowly. He understood rules, contracts, deadlines, expectations. But Noah's rules felt different, cleaner, safer. Another bus approached. Noah stiffened, checking the color, the number. When it passed, he released a shaky breath. "It's okay," Ethan said quietly. "I'm here. You're not alone." Noah looked at him for a long moment. "Most adults leave when it gets uncomfortable," he said. "You didn't." Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. "I don't want to," he replied, surprised by how true it felt. Footsteps approached quickly. "Noah?" A woman hurried toward him, panic written all over her face. Noah stood immediately. "That's my mom," he said. She knelt in front of him, pulling him into a careful hug. "I was only gone 2 minutes," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm so sorry. I followed the rule," Noah said seriously. Then he pointed at Ethan. "He stayed. He was lost too." The woman looked up at Ethan, relief flooding her face. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you so much." Ethan stood, suddenly aware again of his expensive coat, his polished shoes, the invisible distance between his world and theirs. "Of course," he said. "He's an amazing kid." Noah nodded, as if this were obvious, as they walked away. Noah turned back once and waved. Ethan raised his hand in return. Later, when Ethan finally sat in his car, missed calls and urgent messages lighting up his phone, the city rushed back into his life. But his mind stayed at the bus stop. That night, alone in his quiet house. Ethan didn't turn on the TV. He sat in silence, thinking about one simple question. Are you lost too? And for the first time in years, he didn't fight the answer. He was. The morning Ethan missed a bus stop, the city felt sharper than usual. Meetings stacked on top of each other, voices overlapping, numbers flashing on screens that suddenly seemed meaningless. He caught himself glancing at the time, calculating the minutes as if a small blue bus and a quiet bench mattered more than shareholders. Waiting on the other side of glass walls. It unsettled him how true that felt at the bus stop. Noah noticed the absence immediately. He sat rigid on the bench, backpack hugged tight against his chest, eyes fixed on the road. He checked the color of every passing vehicle, rocking just a little faster than usual. His routine had been interrupted, and his body knew it before his mind could explain it. He said he would stay. Noah murmured. His mother crouched in front of him, voice calm but concerned. Sometimes adults get delayed, sweetheart. That doesn't mean they disappear. Noah nodded, though the words didn't fully settle. Promises mattered. Patterns mattered. People who stayed mattered most of all that evening. Ethan stood alone in his kitchen, suit, jacket, tossed over a chair, tie loosened but not removed. The house was too clean, too quiet. He poured a glass of water and didn't drink it. Instead, he stared at his reflection in the dark window and heard a small voice asking a simple question. Are you lost too? The next morning, Ethan arrived at the bus stop early. Too early. The air was cold, the bench damp with leftover rain. He stood instead of sitting, hands clasped behind his back, as if waiting for judgment. When Noah appeared at the corner, his steps slowed. His eyes searched, cautious, hopeful. Ethan lifted his hand in a small wave. Noah stopped walking. Then he ran. He didn't hug Ethan. He didn't speak right away. He simply stood very close, breathing fast, as if confirming something was real. You came back, Noah said. I said I would, Ethan replied. Noah nodded once, satisfied. He sat on the bench and patted the space beside him. Ethan sat too. You were late yesterday, Noah said matter-of-factly. I know, Ethan said. I'm sorry. Noah considered this. You're here now, he decided. That fixes it. Ethan smiled, something warm loosening in his chest. Days turned into weeks. Their meetings became quiet rituals. Some mornings they talked. Other mornings they simply sat, listening to the city wake up. Ethan learned when to speak and when silence was the kinder choice. Noah learned that not all adults rushed away when the world grew loud. One morning, Noah asked, "Why do people on your phone sound angry?" Ethan glanced at the device in his hand, vibrating insistently. "Because they want things," he said. "What do you want?" Noah asked. The question caught him off guard. "I don't know," Ethan admitted. Noah nodded. "That's okay. Wanting is confusing." Ethan found himself rearranging his schedule without thinking. Meetings moved. Calls shortened. His assistant noticed, but didn't question it. Something about the bus stop felt more urgent than profit margins. One afternoon, Noah's school called Ethan directly. He didn't know how they'd gotten his number, only that a teacher's voice on the line sounded exhausted. "We're struggling to meet his needs," she said. "We do our best, but resources are limited." Ethan visited the school the next day. He didn't arrive as a CEO. He arrived as someone who listened. He watched Noah carefully cover his ears during a fire drill, saw how quickly the world overwhelmed him, and how fiercely he tried to hold himself together. That evening, Ethan wrote a check without hesitation. He requested sensory-friendly spaces, training for staff, quieter alarms. He asked that his name not be displayed. "Why?" the principal asked. "Because this isn't about me," Ethan said. And for once, he meant it completely. The changes helped. Noah noticed immediately. "It's quieter now," he said at the bus stop. "My head doesn't hurt as much." Ethan felt a surge of pride that had nothing to do with success. One morning, Noah didn't show up. Ethan waited. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. He stood, scanning the street, heart pounding in a way boardroom crises had never triggered. Finally, a familiar figure appeared. Noah's mother, walking alone. "He's sick," she explained quickly. "He didn't want you to worry." Ethan exhaled. "Can I bring him something?" She hesitated, then smiled softly. "He'd like that." Ethan brought soup and a book about trains. Noah didn't talk much that day, but he smiled when Ethan sat at the edge of his bed and waited without rushing. "You stayed again," Noah whispered. "Always," Ethan said. The words surprised them both. Months later, Ethan stood on a stage under bright lights, accepting an award he barely remembered earning. Cameras flashed. Applause thundered. He smiled for them, polished and controlled, but his mind was at a quiet bus stop. The next morning, he arrived earlier than usual. Noah was already there, swinging his legs. "I have news," Noah said. "Good or bad?" Ethan asked. "Different," Noah replied. "We're moving." Ethan's chest tightened. "When soon?" Noah said. "Mom got a new job, new city, new bus." I sat in silence. Ethan searched for words that wouldn't sound like goodbye. "You'll have a new routine," he said carefully. Noah nodded. "Routines can be rebuilt." "But," Ethan began. Noah looked up at him. "You're not lost anymore," he said gently. "You don't need this bus stop forever." Ethan swallowed hard. "Neither do you." On Noah's last morning, the sky was clear and bright. The blue bus arrived right on time. Noah stood, backpack on, eyes shining. "Will you be okay?" he asked. Ethan smiled, though his eyes burned. "Yeah, I will." Noah reached out and placed a small object in Ethan's palm. A folded piece of paper. Inside was a drawing, a bench, a bus stop, 2 figures. One had a tie. One had a backpack. Above them, a single word, "Found." The bus doors opened. Noah climbed aboard, then turned back one last time. "Thank you for staying," he said. Ethan raised his hand in farewell. "Thank you for finding me." As the bus disappeared down the street, Ethan remained standing, alone, but not empty. Later that day, Ethan called his son, not with excuses, not with urgency, just with a presence. The bus stop would always be there. So would the question that changed everything. And this time, Ethan knew the answer.